Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is the Love and Light Podcast, episode 43. I'm Willie Lightfoot.
And this is Lovely Warren, powered by 103.9 WDKX.
And you see I'm rocking the I am DKX shirt on this time. It's summertime, sis. It's summertime, so it's time to wild out, time to have a good time this summer. And I know that, I don't know about you, but this has been already starting off to be an interesting summer weather-wise.
Listen, I'm trying to figure out what Mother Nature trying to do, because this is hot, is cold, is 40 degrees, is 80 degrees. I'm not feeling it. My body not feeling it. You know, I'm getting old.
Well, it is Rochester, of course, we have bipolar weather. So it doesn't, we had an extremely cold winter.
Yes.
Then a rainy spring.
Yes.
And then now we don't know. It don't know what it want to do.
But it better warm up
It's gotta warm
to
up.
stay warmed up, right?
I agree. Episode 43, Love and Light Podcast, powered by 103.9 WDKX. Today, we're here to talk about current federal budget cuts and the impact that they're going to have on underserved communities. This is the Love and Light Podcast, where we talk about things that people don't talk about nearly enough or don't talk about at all. And we're going to go in today. But before we do that, we're going to talk about our love lifting segment. Now, this time of year,
Father's Day.
And can I say this? Can I just be fully transparent? Me and Sight, being the dads in the room, we get done so dirty.
What are you talking about?
Fathers get done on Mother's Day. As a pastor, let me tell you, I get information about, we there's committees are put together, there's SOSs, there's teams, there's special forces, everything comes together for the women, right? And all of this stuff happens. But when it comes to Daddy Day,
so
we get done so dirty, y'all.
Let me say it this way, right? So all the mothers get together and they decide to do something. They decide.
They parachute in.
Yeah.
They send out a full SOS. The bat sign goes out.
Okay.
I mean, stores are full, restaurants are full. You can't find no perfume nowhere.
So,
jewelry store, Jared is empty.
So all the mothers get together and they take care of what needs to be taken care of for Mother's
100%.
Day, right?
100%.
So I think that the fathers should get together and take care of what needs to be done for Father's Day. Then y'all won't complain. So my husband complains about it too. He says it all the time.
They do it so dirty.
I haven't seen any post on Facebook about Father's Day. And I definitely don't want to see Father's Day, a mother saying, "Oh, I'm a mother and a father."
Yes.
Listen, I just want to say on behalf of all the women,
all right,
happy Father's
Day to all the fathers out there, to the real fathers who are not just dads, but fathers out there. Happy Father's Day. We know this may even air after Father's Day, but nonetheless, we're going to celebrate the entire month. Father's Day for our fathers out there.
Absolutely. You have to, because we wouldn't be here without them.
Indeed. So this interesting topic today of current federal cuts, and I should say butts, because the butt head that's doing this.
Oh, you talking about
your boy Donnie, that's putting forth these cuts. And I'm gonna tell you, one of the things that is very, very troubling about this. And I want to kind of set the legal stage and policy for this, Lovely, as far as breaking down budget cuts and explanation of the federal funding mechanism and the legal framework behind these decisions. We'd like to talk a little bit about, how is this even possible, or what is being presented here before our country?
Well, I think that, a lot of people don't understand that, your taxes go towards funding the federal government, right? And so the federal government also sends a lot of money to cities, right? And so you have CDBG funding. They have money that they send to states for CHIP funding, which is like for your road construction and other things like that.
And
Rochester
CDBG, let's just spell that out. Community Development Block Grants.
Okay. Right. So that's money that is going to different cities, different communities that they can allocate towards different projects. Right. And so, as you know, as a council person, a lot of this money goes towards providing support for staff, youth, youth staff,
Mhm.
providing for sometimes road construction,
Mhm.
providing for demolition of some housing. It also provides for roofing and other things. So CDBG funding is like grant money that cities can utilize in many different ways.
Mhm.
And then you also have right here in the city of Rochester, there's $100 million grant for the Interloop North, right?
Mhm.
So if you look at the Interloop East, that money went towards we got federal money for that, and they were able to build up the street, fill in the moat, fill in that particular part of the Interloop, and build really a neighborhood that connects to downtown.
Mhm.
And so I know that city council, the mayor, is also looking at, and I have to also give a shout out to my boss, my boss who went on ahead and went to meet the Lord for spearheading this Interloop
Huge advocate,
North,
supporter.
Assemblyman David Gant. But anyways, so money comes to a community from the federal government, be utilized in many different ways. But what's happening right now with the big, I think they call it the big, beautiful budget bill.
Right. There's nothing beautiful about this budget.
There is nothing beautiful about this budget for the people, right?
That's right.
For the people that need it most.
There you go. Right.
And so when you talk about the people that need it most, our senior citizens, our families, our children, there's cuts to military, there's cuts to military, there's cuts to education, there's cuts to Social Security, there's cuts to Medicaid.
Yes.
And so across the board, this particular budget proposal that the president put forth, right? So the president submits his budget to Congress, the House of Representatives and the Senate, and then they review it, and then they go through it, and they do maybe they introduce amendments, whatever it is, and then they pass it. Well, the big beautiful budget passed the House, and now it is going over to the Senate.
And it passed the House. I had a conversation recently with Senator Schumer, with some other elected, or actually it was faith leaders that he had kind of a roundtable discussion with, trying to just explain the impact that this would have. And in the faith community, of course, a lot of our parishioners and community members will be impacted. And he was saying that it passed by just nearly 4 votes in the Senate, and it passed by just 1 in the House. So he's saying, like, just swinging those votes when this is an election year, by 4 in the Senate and 1 in the House could really change the dynamics of how some of these decisions are being made. But he said, and everybody knows Senator Schumer's been around a long time, and he said that this is the worst budget. Even Ronald Reagan, he said, though they had differences, he's never seen these types of cuts so deep
cuts to programs that really help the American people's most vulnerable, right? So food benefits, SNAP benefits, we have Food Link here in our community. They've been hit hard. And we know that, many of our children over half of our children live in poverty, right? And that are located in our city. In most urban cities, they have challenges with food, with getting support for healthcare, with housing. All of those programs that affect these people is being cut.
So I want to kind of give you some of the statistics, or just the information that was given. 900 state and local elected officials are literally ringing the alarm about how these federal cuts will hurt states, cities, towns, as you mentioned, schools, raise costs for working families. Medicaid is the largest source of funding from the federal government to states. Without this funding, healthcare services for everyone will suffer. Nursing homes, hospitals, home care, and other critical care services will literally disappear, leading job losses to the healthcare sector and weakening our economy. Cuts to SNAP at the federal level could also mean millions of families will go hungry. So we have to really look at what's going on in federal, and how it's going to impact states and local governments that will have to now, who didn't have to before, as you know, as former mayor, as I know as a city council member, would have to cover all of these new expenses without making these cuts to other critical services like schools or roads. So protecting public services like Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP is not a red or blue issue. This will impact, like you said, everyone: veterans, seniors, children, people with
Yes.
disabilities,
Mhm.
working families who rely on public services to live.
Yes, and you made a great point, right?
Mhm.
Because this is not a Democrat or Republican issue,
Mhm.
right? This is something that affects everybody across the board, right? So children are being educated in urban centers and in rural settings. Children are receiving SNAP benefits in urban settings and in rural settings. Senior citizens are receiving support or their Social Security or their Medicaid or Medicare in urban settings and in rural settings. So this isn't a black issue. It's not a white issue. It's not a blue issue. It's not a red issue. This is an issue that affects the most vulnerable citizens across our country. And I think that we need to be tuned into exactly what the big beautiful bill is going to do to our people. And it's funny because just recently, I believe it was in either Wisconsin or Michigan, where the congresswoman, in a rural area got up and, her constituents was taking it to her. Like, are you really serious? You're voting for this? You're voting for this bill that's getting ready to cut Medicare and cut my Social Security and make all these changes. I can't believe that you're voting for this. And, and basically she's like, well, we're all gonna die sometime.
Ouch.
Did you see that?
Ouch. I did not see that. That's crazy. That's
She
crazy.
like literally told her citizens, like, well, we're, it's no big deal that people are going to die. And, she doesn't understand why people are so upset.
Well, even I understand that, Elon coming into this whole situation of this new administration was buddy with, the former president, the current president. And then even he's saying that this budget is ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Bro,
which really makes
Elon is out, right? But let's be very clear about Elon, right?
Yeah.
So the budget, before under President Biden,
sure,
there was a provision and there was like this electrical vehicle tax that benefit that that people got when you purchased an electric vehicle. So Elon in it for himself, right?
Sure.
So there were tax credits that if you purchased a Tesla, then you are going to get this big tax benefit. And a lot of people, purchased it. And so they took that out. The big beautiful budget bill took that
wasn't
out.
that
right?
beautiful?
It wasn't right. And then he also has this like space,
He's
center
sending people out to right.
But he owns all this land. He has like a whole town in Texas, right? I can't remember the name of it, but they have a whole town. They just elected a mayor. They just got codified basically in a law to be a town and to make their own rules. And this is where he has most of his company, his SpaceX company. And most of the people that work at the SpaceX company live in the town. And so it's like a way to control everything about this particular town. And so there was some provisions that he had within the budget that would benefit him, and that was taken out. So he big mad.
Well, I would tell
he wasn't big mad when he fired all those people, but he big mad now.
Well, of course, from what we're looking at and what's being what we're discovering is that this budget is more tax breaks for the wealthy and the billionaires than it is for, and then taking away off the backs of the people, of poor people and working families who need these services and these benefits and who have been receiving these services and benefits for decades and decades and decades. So then the thing becomes in episode 43, we're talking about this not so beautiful federal budget, solutions and advice and what can people do, and we want to kind of let you know that you can mobilize, right? You can mobilize your community. You can advocate, like you said, there's 4 seats in the Senate. There's a seat in the House that they need. And just like I think people are regretting their vote for the president now, and they're seeing some of the impact and the consequences that come and how your vote matters. I think people need to consider looking at, even within these House and Senate races, how important those are when it comes to voting for bills and budgets and things such as this.
Well, yeah, it's very important,
Mhm.
right? Because we know that we live in a system of checks and balances, right?
Mhm.
So if the Democrats get control of the House or the Senate, they'll be able to stop some of this stuff from going through.
Mhm.
As Senator Schumer was talking about, it's one vote away, 4 votes away.
Mhm.
If you're able to swing people one way or another, then you can stop this budget from passing or
Mhm.
stop certain legislation. But I think that is very important that the president is doing what he wants to do
He's doing
without Congress approval, right?
Mm.
So a lot of the things that he has done thus far, he
Mm.
hasn't been approved to do by Congress. And
Mm.
actually, Congress has in some ways relinquished their right, but at least, I appreciate, when he first got elected, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we are in trouble
Right.
because I don't know if the democracy will hold.
Mhm.
I don't know if the way the system was set up, if they will hold him accountable and hold his feet to the fire. But I have to give it to these
The
federal
courts, the
judges.
courts
The
have been
federal
doing it. They
judges is
doing
like,
it.
listen,
Yeah.
y'all won't do what y'all
Mhm.
supposed to do. You're gonna relinquish your authority to him. We're not. We're
They're holding
gonna
the line.
we're they have drawn a
They
line
have.
in the sand and
They
they
have.
are doing what the law says,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
so they're looking at the Constitution,
Mhm.
they're looking at the laws that have passed, and they're holding accountable. Just recently, just yesterday,
Mhm.
right? There was a big lawsuit in California,
Mhm.
right? So California Governor Newsom, so the governor, the president activated the National Guard of the state of California.
Goodness.
The National
Which is a
Guard,
state thing that's
which
normally
is a
done by the
state thing,
governor.
right? No,
Right.
normally done by the governor,
Mhm.
or the president might do it at the
Mhm.
request of the governor or
Right.
something like that, right?
Mhm.
And he just activated it. Trump just activated it
Mm.
without the governor's approval.
Mm.
Governor's like, no, you can't do that. Took
Right.
him to court, and the lower courts was like, no, you don't have the authority.
Mhm.
It is illegal for you to do what you
Mm.
just did,
Mhm.
and you need to turn the National Guard back over
Mhm.
to the governor of California.
Mhm.
Well, this is being litigated now in court
Sure.
because the lower courts said turn them back over, but then they filed an appeal. It's going up to now the appellate division, and this case may make it all the way to the Supreme Court before it's done.
Wow. Episode 43, current federal budget cuts and the impact that is having on underserved communities. This is the reason why we have this show. They would talk about the things that people may be talking about in silence,
Right.
but people may not feel like they understand fully what's going on.
Mhm.
A lot of people stop paying attention. A lot of people they kind of shut it off because it's so depressing to them, and they get
Mhm.
that voter apathy, if you will, and they get discouraged and feel like there's nothing we can do, but that's not true, right?
No, it's not true.
Mhm.
You can call your legislator still.
Absolutely.
You
Writing your
can
legislators.
you can write your
That's very
legislator.
important. Mhm.
You can, there's a lot of, especially this weekend, there's a lot of
Yes.
protests that's going to be going on
Yes.
around the country.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of ways to get involved, but the one thing that you can do, the
Mhm.
one thing that all of us can do
Mhm.
that have the right to vote is to vote.
Yes. You
Right?
gotta vote.
I mean, we may not be able to vote on the
Mhm.
president for another couple years,
Mhm.
but next year you're going to be able to vote on your Senate and House of
And
Representative
those
person.
are just as important.
Right now, you're
Mhm.
able to vote on your local people.
Mhm.
And
Those
so
are
these
important.
are very important races that
Mhm.
people need to be in tune with because, as you always say, what elections have consequences.
They have consequences and they matter. So we have to make sure that we're involved, that we're informed and just educated on what's going on, because there's always narratives out there that, oh, this is not, we're helping you. And that's what the narrative is putting out there. This is going to be, we're going to make the country better than it's ever been before. We're going to do all of these things that are so great for you. And we've heard all these promises, but the reality is when I go to Walmart, I'm still spending all kinds of money and my groceries haven't gone down. Okay.
Listen, groceries have gone up.
Right.
Right.
That part.
So, it's the cost of food is
Mhm.
going up, the cost of clothing is going up, the cost to get, to get toiletries and everything else
Mhm.
is skyrocketing.
Mhm.
And these tariffs, and there's just so many unknowns.
Mhm.
But I encourage people, because I say don't be discouraged, right?
Yes.
If we look at it as the glass is half empty, then
Right.
we all lost,
The
right?
glass is half full. I gotta be half full. Listen, this episode 43 of the Love and Light podcast, powered by 103.9 WDKX. We want you to text or call the front line and tell us how you feel about this episode at 585-678 1039. Also, if you're watching this via YouTube or online, put in your comments. We want to hear how you feel about it, future topics that we can talk about on this show. We really are excited about going into our video portion of it now, and just want you to remember to keep your light shining. You can't put a lampshade on the sun, so let your light keep shining and be encouraged.
Dance like nobody's watching, sing like there's no one listening, live like it's heaven on earth, and love like you've never been hurt. Happy Father's Day, everyone.
Peace.